All those outside in the hall, you're requested to please come inside. All those outside the hall, please, delegates, you are requested to come inside and be seated. Okay, gentlemen.
Honorable Chief Guest Dr. Raza Bakar, Governor State Bank of Pakistan, prestigious guest of honor Mr. Jameel Ahmed, Deputy Governor State Bank of Pakistan, distinguished speakers and panelists from the different sessions, foreign delegates, my cherished audience and valued representatives from media. Assalamu alaikum, the sun and I bid a very good morning to all of you. Your attendance on this day full of wonderful experiences is highly appreciated and your presence is of immense honor to us. I, Hiraneem, am honored to be assigned as the mistress of the ceremony for conducting this massively influential and insightful event. And it's my utmost pleasure to extend a wholehearted welcome to you all to the second annual Financial Crime Summit with the theme of FETF Way Forward, Transforming the National Financial Crime Landscape. This special gathering is being organized by Delson's Associates, with the knowledge partners being AF Ferguson and Company, with the aim of sharing and learning from the perspectives of eminent global and local experts on the subject and devising strategies for sustainable transformation. The valued sponsors of the event are Habib Metropolitan Bank, Allied Bank, Takaful Pakistan Limited, Technologics, and many others, and our media partner is Aj News. So first and foremost of all, let us praise to the Almighty Allah. Because of His bountiful blessings, we have been able to be assembled here for this event. So let us hear some verses from Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. So to begin the inaugural session formally, I'm honored to offer my most hospitable welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Raza Bakar, Governor, State Bank of Pakistan, to deliver his precious keynote address. Sir, we are truly privileged to welcome you here.
Assalamu alaikum, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. It is a great pleasure for me to be here with all of you today and to inaugurate the session on the FATF the action plan and the way forward. Let me take this opportunity at the very beginning to thank the organizers of this event and also Ferguson and Company, which is a member of the PwC network. I want to thank you for having me here today, and I especially want to thank all of you in the audience who have decided to spend a Saturday morning talking about issues related to financial crime, anti-money laundering, and countering terrorism financing, as opposed to spending a weekend at homes or relaxing. I also want to especially recognize my colleagues in the State Bank who have been working a lot in these areas, Deputy Governor Mr. Jamil Ahmed, and especially Irfan Sahib, our Executive Director, who's been heading our work in these areas. Normally, when I speak at public events, people are either interested to know about the exchange rate, or they are interested to know about interest rates, and more recently, people are interested to know whether particular people have deposited certain amounts of money in our reserves. Today, I am not going to talk about any of these things, but I want to make three main points to you. And the first is I want to take a step back and I want to share with you the State Bank's vision and assessment of what is happening in the financial landscape in the country. Second, I want to talk to you about how this work on countering terrorism financing, anti-money laundering, financial crimes, and the related areas, how that is an integral part of the changing economic and financial landscape that Pakistan is undergoing right now. And third, and finally, this is a broad agenda that entails the coordination of many agencies in the public sector. And I want to talk to you about what specifically is being done by the State Bank in this field. So first, on what is the broader financial landscape, I want to take you all back a few months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, when if we were having that session, this session 9 months ago, I think the state of people's expectations regarding the financial future of the country were quite mixed. People had genuine and honest questions regarding what was the outlook, and particularly the financial outlook, for a country that had very large current account and fiscal deficits, for a country which successively was finding it difficult to borrow, either on the international markets or from bilateral or multilateral lending agencies, or from friendly countries. That was the landscape then. And I want to share with you just a few key indicators of where we are today. Now, back then, when none of the multilateral agencies were willing to take on Pakistan risk on their balance sheet, today they have become our partners. You know about the program with the IMF. They have already disbursed one initial tranche. They will soon be disbursing the second one. You know about the Asian Development Bank. They have joined the partnership and they have disbursed more than 1 billion recently. And the World Bank is expected to follow suit, as well as others. The point I want to make to you is that the money that the country gets from such agencies is less important than the signal that comes. And the change in the signal is that whereas one multilateral creditor previously did not find that it was safe enough for them to lend to Pakistan, today they do. And it's a sign of the confidence that the international community places in our financial future. But this is an assessment of external agencies, which is important because we are part of the financial community. I also want to point out some indicators to you of the assessment of yourselves on our financial future and how that has changed. You will recall that back in May or June, when we began some of our financial reforms, particularly on the exchange rate side, we moved the currency system from one which was a fixed exchange rate to one which is a market-based exchange rate. There was some concern and some anxiety amongst many of those who are here today, as well as many others. There were numbers being quoted about where the exchange rate might end up, what might happen to capital flight, what might happen to dollarization. Let me talk to you about these three. On the exchange rate, today, people are not talking about those numbers that they were before. People were coming on talk shows and confidently predicting that they somehow know a secret arrangement that has been negotiated with the IMF for a particular level of the exchange rate. You don't see those people on talk shows anymore. You may want to remind them of what they've said on TV with regards to the numbers, but people are not talking about those things right now. Second, capital flight, where we had a situation where foreign investors were taking their funds out of Pakistan. Today, they think, aside from the multilateral agencies, foreign investors from the private sector think that Pakistan is a good credit risk. They are investing in Pakistan right now. And third, dollarization. Many people in Pakistan were converting their rupees into dollars because they were afraid what might happen to the value of their savings, which is a genuine, legitimate fear. But today, those foreign currency deposits, the trend has changed, and we are seeing how those foreign currency deposits are being converted into savings accounts in rupees because one, we think people have more confidence in the exchange rate system, and second, they can earn some more return on their rupee assets rather than holding cash or a checking account in US dollars that doesn't earn anything. Now, while all of these changes are taking place, the work on countering terrorist financing, the work on anti-money laundering, to us at the State Bank is a key part of the economic reforms. And I want to explain to you why. At a very broad level, This is part of the efforts of the policymakers to better document the economy, to better fight crime, criminal activities in the financial sector. And fundamentally, if you think about it, who would not want to stand up for anti-money laundering? It's unfair to those who are earning their living fairly. Who would not want to support the countering of financing of terrorism? We, as a country, have been one of the biggest victims of terrorism. We have suffered more than perhaps most countries in the world in terrorism. So countering terrorism is in our favor as well. But very importantly, as part of our strategy to put Pakistan back on the international financial landscape, it is a critical part of our plan as well to make sure that we get out of the action plan, that we successfully complete the action plan that the FATF has developed. And not only that, as some of you would be aware, we also have a mutual evaluation report from the Asia Pacific Group, which is a related forum which concentrates on anti-money laundering. As part of our reform program, it's not just to put ourselves back on the map with international lending agencies, but it is as much critically a part of our plan to demonstrate to the international financial community that in these areas of CFT and AML, we mean business, we have stepped up our efforts, and we intend to demonstrate that we are going to make sufficient progress to get out of all of these areas of potential concern. Now, in this context, over the last several months, there has already been a significant increase in the amount of resources that have been devoted to work in these areas. And there has also been a change in the rhetoric that we are observing from the international agencies. The IMF, for instance, in its press release, noted the significant progress that had been made in Pakistan's action plan with the FATF. If you look at the numbers of the 27 action items, how much were assessed to be incomplete, how many were partially complete, and how many were largely complete. If you look at that matrix between May and September, you will find a significant progress on all of these. Now, it's not enough, we know that, and we are determined to make sure that we make the sufficient amount of progress that is needed to successfully complete that action plan. So I wanted to tell you that as we are working on our reforms in the financial side, and we see a future that is going to be much better than the present and our recent past, this area is a key part of it. And I want to send a message to those who are resisting becoming part of the formal economy, or are resisting joining the others who are recognizing that becoming documented, stopping informal practices, stopping such practices is their own interest. And the message is that we are determined to partner with those who are joining us, and we are determined to ensure that those who do not are increasingly squeezed and do not have the space themselves to be able to do the business that they were before. Even today, if you look at one aspect, which is the documentation of the economy, those buyers, large buyers or businessmen who are not registering or who are not participating in the documentation drive by the FBR and others are finding that business is going to others who are participating. And my message to all of you is that we see the financial and economic pie growing. We are seeing the turnaround coming very soon. And as Pakistan continues and expands its prosperity, we want all, in a legitimate, legal, inclusive manner, to be part of that prosperity. And our message to those who are not cooperating is that you're going to be left behind. So now is the time to join us. It's not that difficult. Many people have, and becoming part of the formal sector, respecting all of the work on AML, CFT, those people are growing, and those people are doing well right now. So my last point, in terms of the 3 points that I wanted to make: first, how things are changing in our view, how the work on AML, CFT, financial crime is a key part of it. My last part is what the State Bank of Pakistan is doing in this regard. And I want to just mention a couple of examples of the areas in which we have been working. Now, first, and at a very immediate level, is the outreach that we are doing. Being here with you today at the very, very senior level is one example of it. I am here, Deputy Governor Jamil Ahmed is here, Irfan Sahib is here, other colleagues are here. We are devoting our time to make this a national priority. We are here with you today on a Saturday morning to convey to you that this is extremely important to the State Bank. I also want to mention that recently we had another event that was organized together with the Asian Development Bank and one of the banks who is in fact here today right now, and we will continue to organize such events in the future to bring attention to this. More concretely, the State Bank recently and the SECP have been taking significant initiatives on the regulatory side. There was a national risk assessment that was carried out recently, and the key goal of that risk assessment was to take a second look at where risks stem from in Pakistan, particularly transnational risks. We have stepped up the work that the State Bank is doing on trade-based money laundering and terrorist financing. State Bank of Pakistan has issued a comprehensive framework for managing risks of trade-based money laundering and terrorist financing. And comprehensive guidelines have been provided in this framework relating to various high risks, including customers, vessels, and screening of goods, risk profiling, price verification, and other areas. I could talk about a number of other areas, specific areas, where the State Bank is engaged in, but I'm sure Irfan Sahib will do a wonderful job in the session that he is going to be speaking on the areas that he has been working. But I want to just conclude by saying that as we continue on our journey of economic reforms, you will continue to see more emphasis from the State Bank as well as the other public agencies in this area. We appreciate very much all our partners in this space. I want to especially thank all the bank presidents who are here today, because they have made time out of their schedules, and I know that they are devoting a lot of resources in this area. I want to thank the rest of you who are here, and I want to just emphasize to you that the State Bank welcomes this partnership, and we are looking forward to working with you so that we can put all of these issues that others are raising about Pakistan in the context of AML and CFT, that we can put these issues behind us for once and for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for gracing the event with your promising presence and giving it a powerful beginning with your words. Now, I would also like to invite on the stage Mr. Jameel Ahmed, Deputy Governor, State Bank of Pakistan, as we are going to have the momentum distribution segment now. So we are also presenting a digital Quran Majid along with the memento. To present the memento and the digital Holy Quran, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Mohsen Nathani, President and CEO, Habib Metropolitan Bank, Mr. Yusuf Hussain, President and CEO, Faisal Bank, and Mr. Irfan Siddiqui, President and CEO, Mizan Bank. Now, I would request Mr. Mohsen Nathani, President and CEO, Habib Metropolitan Bank, to present the souvenir to the chief guest of the summit, Dr. Raza Bakar, Honorable Governor, State Bank of Pakistan. And I would request Mr. Yusuf Hussain, President and CEO, Faisal Bank, to present the souvenir to our guest of honor, Mr. Jameel Ahmed, Deputy Governor, State Bank of Pakistan. The Holy Quran is being sponsored by the Mizan Bank. Thank you so much, all of you. You all may take your seats after that. Sir, sir. Thank you all. Take your seats, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we further proceed, let me tell you that PwC Pakistan has recently conducted a financial crime survey, being the first of such initiatives in the country. The survey was rolled out to compliance as well as businesses and key enabling functions. The survey is ongoing and a lot of our colleagues have taken interest in responding. Mr. Faraz Anwar from PwC will be sharing the initial results after the lunch. I hope you will find the results encouraging, insightful, and interesting.
So our next session is going to be a panel discussion moderated by none other than Irfan Saab. So of course, Irfan Saab also does not need an introduction, but I would just like to remind all of our guests who've been in the country or not, that Irfan Saab, we would like to remember, is the pioneer of branchless banking regulations in Pakistan. And now Irfan Saab is also pioneering the regulations on electronic money institutions and digital banking. So Irfan Saab, if you could please come to the stage and we will announce your panel members. And I would first like to mention the name or the title or the theme of this panel. It's a long one, but it's an impressive one. So, realizing the immensity of the threat and insulating stakeholder value. So, it's as complicated as it should be, I think, and Irfan Saab will explain to us what it all means. So, Hira, if you can call the moderators.
So the esteemed panelists of the session are Mr. Arif Usmani from National Bank, President and CEO, National Bank of Pakistan, Mr. Yusuf Hussain, President and CEO of Faisal Bank, Mr. Mohsen Nathani, President and CEO, Habib Metropolitan Bank, Mr. Tahir Hassan Qureshi, President and CEO, Allied Bank, Syed Amir Ali, President and CEO, Bank Islami Pakistan Limited.
Good morning, everyone. I guess all of you can hear me.